ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್, ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯ ಸುಮಂತ್ ಆಸೈಡ್. ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್, ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಚಾನಲ್ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ತಪ್ಪದೆ ವಿಡಿಯೋನ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಬೆಲ್ ಬಟನ್ನ ಪ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಷನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಆಗಿ. ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್, ಚಾನಲ್ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದರೆ, ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಡಿಯೋ ಏನು ಇದೆ ನಾನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು, ಅದು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಆ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಚಾನಲ್ನ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹಾಗೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಲೆಸನ್ನ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. GSTಲಿ ದ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇಯಬಲ್ ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟು. ಇದು ನಿಮಗೆ 15 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕೆಲವು ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ಈ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮಲ್ಲಿ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇಯಬಲ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಅದನ್ನು ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಮುಂಚೆ ನಾನು ಒಂದಿಷ್ಟು ಮಾಹಿತಿನ ನಿಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ಸ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ನಾನು ಹೇಳ್ದಂತಹ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸೀಲ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ತಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೋರ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ಆ ಒಂದು ಮಾಹಿತಿನ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ನೆನಪಿಡಿ. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳುವಂತಹ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ವಿಷಯ ನೆನಪಿಡಿ. ಏನಂದರೆ, ಮೊದಲೇದು SEZ ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಝೋನ್ ಅಂತ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಝೋನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಥಳದಲ್ಲಿ ಸುಮಾರು 10 ವರ್ಷದಷ್ಟು ಕಾಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ 0% ನಿಲ್ ರೇಟ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ GST. ಇದಿಷ್ಟು ವಿಷಯನ ನೆನಪಿಡಿ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಝೋನ್ ಬರುತ್ತೋ ಅಂಥ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲೇಸಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ ನಡೆದಂತಹ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸೇಷನ್ ರೇಟ್ ಈಸ್ 0%. If transaction done in special economic zone, the rate of GST is charged 0%, whether it is IGST or CGST or SGST particular. It might be anything. ಮತ್ತೊಂದು ವಿಷಯ ನೀವು ಗಮನದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿರೋದು, ಇನ್ ದ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಅವರೇ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟಾಗಿ ಮೆನ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಿಲ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅಂತ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ನೀವು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕನ್ಸಿಡ್ರೇಷನ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ನೀವು ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇಯಬಲ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನಿಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್ ಫಾರ್ ದೋಸ್ ಹೂ ಕಾಂಟ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಕನ್ನಡ. ಓಕೆ, ವೆನ್ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಔಟ್ಪುಟ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇಯಬಲ್ and in a problem, if they are given special economic zone, or in the problem they have particularly mentioned that it is the transaction is with respect to nil rate, you have to take nil, IGST nil, SGST nil, CGST nil. And if they given special economic zone also, you have to take IGST nil, SGST nil, CGST nil. And in the problem, if they have mentioned it is exempted goods, means the goods is GST exempted, if they are given particularly in the problem, in that circumstances also you have to consider CGST, SGST and IGST as nil. These things you please keep it mind when you calculating output tax payable. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಸಿಂಪಲ್ಲು. ಅವರು SEZ ಅಂದರೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಝೋನ್ ಅಂತ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಅವರೇನಾದರೂ ನಿಮಗೆ ನಿಲ್ ರೇಟ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಅಥವಾ ಅವರೇನಾದರೂ ನಿಮಗೆ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ GST ಎಕ್ಸಮ್ಟೆಡ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರ್ಬೋದು. ಇವು 3 ಸರ್ಕಮ್ಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸಸಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ಏನಂದರೆ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ನೀವು ಏನನ್ನ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಅಂದರೆ IGST, CGST, SGST ಸಂದರ್ಭಗಳಲ್ಲಿ 3 ಕೂಡ ನಿಲ್ ಅಂತ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ನೀವು ಕೇವಲ ಟೈಮ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಮಾತ್ರ ಡಿಟರ್ಮೈನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಓಕೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದಷ್ಟು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ಗಳಿವೆ. ಅದನ್ನು ರಿಲೇಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ. ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ A ಸೋಲ್ಡ್ ಟು ಎ ಡೀಲರ್ ಇನ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್. ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ GST ನೋಟಿಫೈಡ್ ಇಸ್ 12%. ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ನ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡೋಣ ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್ಯಾಟಿಕ್ ಆಗಿ. ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ನ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಮುಂಚೆ, ಇದು ತುಂಬಾ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಮು. 15 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ GST ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿಟಲ್ಲಿ 15 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ ಕ್ವಶನ್ನು. ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಗಮನವಿಡಿ. ನಾನು ಹೆಡ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೀನಿ, ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ showing computation of account of GST ಅಲ್ಲ, ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಶೋಯಿಂಗ್ ದ ಕಾಂಪ್ಯೂಟೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇಯಬಲ್ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ GSTದು ಡಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಇದೆ, ಸರಿನಾ? ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನ ಇನ್ನೊಂದ್ಸತಿ ಕ್ಲೀನಾಗಿ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಶೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಕಾಂಪ್ಯೂಟೇಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಮೌಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಪೇಯಬಲ್. ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು 5 ಕಾಲಮ್ಸ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಒಂದು ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲಮು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನೇಚರ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಪ್ಲೈ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು CGST, SGST, IGST. ಮತ್ತಷ್ಟು ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನ ನೋಟ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಗಮನ ಇಡಿ. ಏನಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ನಿಮಗೆ ವಿತಿನ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಯಾವಾಗ ಇಂಟರ್ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಕರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ CGST ಮತ್ತು SGST ಅಂಡರ್ಟೇಕ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಅಂಡ್ ಎಸ್, ಗಮನ ಇಡಿ, within state transactions, when it is within the state transactions, it is considered as intrastate transactions. When it is from one state to another, it is considered as interstate transaction. When for example, from Bangalore to Mysuru, or from Bangalore to Belgavi, or from Bangalore to some Chamrajnagar, or Bangalore to Bidar, or Bangalore to Raichur, or Bangalore to any other city within the Karnataka limits, it is considered as intrastate. If I take Karnataka Tamil Nadu, Bangalore Mumbai, Bangalore Chennai, Bangalore Kolkata, or Bangalore Jammu and Kashmir, it is called as interstate transaction. So keep these things in our mind. Okay? Yes. Why I am shouting is you have to just analyze those things through your mind. You have to scan those things, because these terms intra and inter make you confused and make you uneasy. Definitely, I have took so many time to realize the difference between these two, and it's not so easy. Means you have to realize this concept by repeating. That makes you things keep it in your mind. You just not need to study in exams to score marks. If you keep these things in your mind without preparation also, you can go exam directly and write and earn 15 marks or 14 marks, whatever it is, easily. Okay, as I said, one state to another state, it is intra. Within the state limits, it is intra, but one state to another, it is inter. Similarly, from one country to another country, you can write it as directly, that is, the nature of supply is one country to another country. But when the situation is intra, that is within the state, that is intra, that is within the state, that is intra, the mode of transaction would be CGST and SGST. Intrastate ge CGST, SGST. Intrastate with respect to CGST and SGST will divide the GST rate. For example, in the first transaction, the GST rate is 12%, because within state limits, that is intra, the GST is 12%. So distributed to both of them, CGST and SGST, so 12 divided by 2 is equal to 6%. So analyze the question carefully. So if you analyze the question, here they are given 12%, right? So if you divide 12 plus 12 alva, 12 divided by 2 is equal to 6, that is 6 plus 6 is equal to 12. So within the state limits, it is interstate transaction, so it is divided into two concepts, that is CGST and SGST. So the valuation of amount is, you observe, it is 50,000. So 12% with respect to CGST and SGST, that is 6% for SGST and 6% for CGST, together make 12%, but you should not express 12% here. Okay, if you do like that, you will get respectively SGST and CGST. With respect to some context, these both would be same when you have your calculations with respect to interstate transactions. Observe the second transaction. Product B sold to a dealer in Mysuru. This is within the state of Karnataka. This is within the state of Karnataka. So I consider this as interstate transaction. So it is of two concepts, that is CGST and SGST. Here the GST rate is 5% total in aggregate, but we have to divide it for both CGST and SGST. So 5% divided by 2 is equal to 2.5. So I distribute here, the total amount is 25,000. For that, do 2.5%, you will get CGST and SGST. Okay, so product C also sold a dealer in Pondicherry. It is outside of Karnataka, so it is interstate transaction. So, but I put every side nil, nil, nil. Why? Let's analyze the question. Here no transactions happening, but we know that this is from one state to another state because sold product C was sold to a dealer in Pondicherry, that is Karnataka to other state, interstate transaction. Okay, analyze that question where it is Pondicherry. Um, yes, Pondicherry. In the question itself, they have given nil rate, so nothing would come as a part of transaction. Okay, so every part it is nil. So okay, next one you have to observe here. Product T sold to a dealer in Jammu and Kashmir. From Karnataka to Jammu and Kashmir, one state to another. So interstate. So here no CGST or SGST will occur because it is not within the state of Karnataka. It is outside the state of Karnataka. When it is outside the state of Karnataka, you have to go for IGST. So that is integrated goods and service tax. So 18,000. So do that 18%. Here there is no probable of dividing between these two, making 9%, 9%, no need, because it is outside the Karnataka limits. So you have to consider direct GST rate 18%. In the question they have given, right, 18%. Here Jammu and Kashmir 18% they have given. Take it as directly. Okay, so next column product is sold an unregistered dealer within the state. Within the state means intra. So total amount is 1,60,000. So total GST rate for this is 28%. So I have to distribute between these two because it is within the state limits. So 28 divided by 2 is equal to 14%. So I distributed the amount. Here nothing would come. So next transaction, if we see, product F sold to SEZ in Bangalore. SEZ means special economic zone. So as I said, in the special economic zone is still a developing part of the city. So there is zero transaction. So nothing of the GST rates would occur here. It might be CGST, SGST or IGST. Nothing of the question would be appeared. Okay. So okay, next one. Product G sold to a dealer in Union Territory. Uh, yes, Union Territory means outside the Karnataka limits. So it is interstate transaction and total amount is 2 lakh into 12%. If you do, you will get 24,000. Okay, next question. Product H exempted from GST. So exempted means you have nil rate of GST rates, so no calculations here, that is intra because one state to another state. Okay, so Karnataka to Pune it is. So next transaction, if you observe, product I exported to China. Friends, remember one thing I have told you, when it is a special economic zone you have to put nil nil nil. When it is a nil rated you have to put nil nil nil. When it is ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಝೋನ್ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಲ್ ರೇಟ್ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಗೂಡ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸಮ್ಟೆಡ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಜಿ ಎಸ್ ಟಿ ಆಗಿರ್ಬೋದು, ಈ ಮೂರು ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ದೀಸ್ ತ್ರೀ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಐ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಪುಟ್ ನಿಲ್ ನಿಲ್ ನಿಲ್. ನಾಟ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ದೋಸ್ ತ್ರೀ ಬಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಒನ್ ಮೋರ್ is extra added. When you do export also you are not liable to pay GST. So nil nil nil. Totally 4 concepts you have to put nil 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 like this, nil nil nil. Okay, ಇವಾಗ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಗೆ sold within the state. Within the state means intra. So total amount is 1,25,000 is the total amount. So total GST rate here is 12%. So distributed between CGST and SGST because it is within the state limits. So you will get 7,500. So next part of the question, product J sold to special economic zone in Mysuru. Within the state limits, it is interstate transaction. Nil nil nil. Why? Because nil nil nil. SEZ is a special economic zone. If they again clearly SEZ put nil nil nil, you have no calculations, no need to worry. You have to be happier that one of the work is reduced for you, right? Yes. Product L sold to a dealer in Belagavi, composite dealer. It might be anything, but remember one thing. This is Belagavi within the Karnataka limits. So interstate transaction. So total amount is 1 lakh. You have to do total GST rate is 28%. So distribute between so it is a composite dealer and within the state of Karnataka limits. So it is intrastate transaction. So total amount is 1 lakh. Total GST rate is 28%. So divided by 2, you will get 14%. 1 lakh only 14% if you do, you will get 14,000. Okay, now what you have to do is just add the total CGST, total SGST, total IGST. If you add these four concepts from year to, from top to bottom, you will get total output tax payable. So you will get total output tax payable. If you add the total of CGST, SGST and IGST, the final total what you have come is the total output tax, that is 47,525 from CGST and 47,525 from SGST and 42,000 from IGST. Friends, you have to keep the presentation good in your exams to get good marks. Okay, and again I'm requesting you, please subscribe my channel and share to your friends, because I want everyone to score good marks, please guys. Friends, finally, under four circumstances, when you calculating output tax payable, friends, as I said, when we calculate output tax payable under four situations, we have to put nil nil nil. Everything is nothing would come when you calculate CGST or SGST, or it might be IGST. When you calculating output tax payable under four concepts like export of goods, GST exempted, special economic zone, nil rated. So any of these four concepts can be asked with the particulars of your question paper. So if they ask any four of these concepts, so you will not get nothing, everything would be nil. This thing if you understand, you can easily calculate output tax payable guys. Thank you guys, please subscribe guys. Thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed the video. Thank you.